With the recent news that Miami has become the second most expensive city to live in the US, I've been curious to see how Miami real estate stacks up against other parts of the country. So in today's episode, I'll be starting a new segment where I compare Miami real estate prices against other major cities. Now, just to be clear, there are a few ground rules that I'm going to try my best to follow during the comparison to try to make things as fair as possible. So basically, properties need to closely resemble one another when it comes to the type of property, the size, the view, and the year that it was built, and the location. However, keep in mind that I am only a real estate agent in the Miami area and not in any of these other cities. So please forgive me if some of the locations in those cities don't match up perfectly with one another. But for the most part, I'm going to try my best to get them as close as possible. And to kick things off, I thought what better comparison to make than Brickell versus Manhattan. These two areas have constantly been compared to one another for many years through different publications. So I figured I'd start here and determine what gives you or where gives you the best value for your dollar. Okay, so the concept is pretty simple, guys. And the way that this is going to work out is I'm going to start and filter out a criteria that we're going to use to find a property in Miami. I'm going to jump on the MLS, find something that matches that criteria, and then we'll jump on another website in a different city to find a property that matches the criteria or a property that we found here in Miami. I hope that's not all confusing. It's going to make a whole lot of sense when I jump on now. And basically, first, we need to start off with the criteria that we're going to find. So in today's episode, what I wanted to do is I wanted to start off with a 2-bedroom condo for sale, of course, with around 1,100 square feet that was built in 2015 or newer and that has a water view. So let's go ahead and jump on the MLS now, find a property in Miami that matches that criteria, and then we'll talk about it a little bit, and then we'll find a property in New York that matches that criteria, and you guys will be the judge of what's better value or what you guys think actually is inferior or superior. So let's get started. All right, so I was able to find a Miami property, or Brickell property rather, that matches the criteria that I set out, and there isn't a whole lot in this criteria, and that was kind of the point of this exercise, to find something that obviously is not a lot of inventory and compare to see what you're going to find. And in Manhattan as well, I did some of this legwork up front. There isn't a whole lot either, and so you'll be surprised. But again, these were just random criteria that I threw out there. I had no intention of trying to make one area better. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. And let's see what we got here. So in Miami, for example, I did find this property in Brickell at Echo Brickell. Now, it matches the criteria or meets the criteria that I set forth because A, it was built in 2017, so it's newer than 2015. It's 1,135 square feet, so it's just around 1,100 square feet that we all spoke about. And it's listed for $1,250,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath and a half, and it has a water view. You guys know the details of the property. Let's look at the photos, and you guys be the judge if it's actually something worth comparing it to. So, start off. I think this is a rendering photo. I don't even believe that that's an actual photo. This seems like to be an actual photo of the guest bedroom. So a lot of floor-to-ceiling glass. It's very new with these newer construction buildings. I tend to really like the floor-to-ceiling glass. And this one in particular, the cool thing about Echo is that it faces the park. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say like our Central Park, but there is a vast park, Simpson Park, and really Holman Park that's just a lot of green. So for that portion of where this unit is facing, you get a lot of greenery, which I think is pretty cool. Bathrooms are obviously top notch. I mean, floating vanities, everything looks porcelain floor, everything looks really upscale. I like the slanted walls and the slanted glass that it has here. The kitchen looks great as well. I mean, it's pretty common with most newer constructed buildings. This was built in 2017, but even the 2021 buildings that are coming today have a slight different configuration, but for the most part are the same. Again, some of the slanted windows here with just amazing unobstructed views of the actual park and just a bunch of greenery, I think are really cool. But where's the water view? So here we get to the barbecue. I think this is super cool that Echo does this. So Echo, for a long time, people were asking me, hey, can you barbecue in the balcony? And in Miami, for the most part, the answer is no. You cannot barbecue in the balcony. Now, there has been some exceptions with buildings that will allow an electric barbecue, and Echo just went ahead and just installed barbecues in every single one of the balconies and all the units. So I thought that was pretty cool. But this view is phenomenal. Yeah, it's on a high enough floor where you clear a lot of the buildings here. You're looking towards Key Biscayne, so you're facing south, and you have the whole Biscayne Bay that you're looking at. I wouldn't say unobstructed views because it's kind of partial view. You would probably have to peek your head out from this point where actually this photo is being taken up from the balcony. So you're probably not going to get a whole lot of water view from the units or from the rooms or the living room. I may be wrong, but that for the majority you don't. Now, Echo has some of the best amenities, in my opinion. It's a boutique building, so there's not that many units per floor, and I think that that's kind of cool. It allows for kind of a higher level of sophistication of detail. Not that these bigger buildings don't do that, but in my opinion, the smaller and the more boutique building, they tend to pay more attention to detail, and I think Echo does a great job. This is the pool. So on the east side of the building, you have this great pool, almost like, it looks like a big jacuzzi, but it's really a pool. It's really cool. And then on the west side of it, you have like these smaller jacuzzis and cold plunge and things like that. So yeah, again, I mean, just phenomenal amenities in my opinion. So this is another shot of the actual pool, which is great because it's kind of like in the middle of the building and it has some of the most insane views of Biscayne Bay from Brickell. So it's very rare to find a building in Brickell that has unobstructed water views. And this building, I think, does a great job in that. The fact that it's modern, the fact that you get great views both from the city and the park and the water with amazing amenities for $1.25 million, it's not bad. It's honestly not bad. I know that in some places in the country, that's just an insane amount of money to be asking for. But in Brickell and Miami, kind of makes sense right now. Unfortunately for a lot of people. And fortunately for a lot of people, because that may be cheap in comparison to where you live. So, yeah, I think the views are great. Yeah, the amenities are top notch. I mean, it's really an amazing place. Now, how does that stack up to a property in New York now, or in Manhattan for the most part? Now, they've called Brickell the Manhattan of the South. If that's true or not, only New Yorkers really who've lived there can actually say. But I can fairly say that I've represented a lot of clients that live in New York that have come here and lived here. And it is pretty close, or as close as you're going to get to that type of lifestyle. Whether it's better or worse, I mean, is up to preference. Obviously, Brickell is a much smaller neighborhood, so it's not as vast as Manhattan by no means, but it does give you a good slice of like what a neighborhood would feel like, if you will. So when comparing that to a property in Manhattan, it was difficult for me to find a property that's a 2-bedroom, that's a little over 1,100 square feet, that was built in 2015 or newer, and that has a water view. But I was able to locate one. There's a couple other ones, but this is the one that really caught my attention because the other ones were really just crazy expensive. This is also really expensive too. It's about $1 million more expensive. So, but if we just take a look at the general details of it, 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, so it matches up in the unit mix as the Miami unit that I just showed you. It's 1,371 square feet, whereas the other one was about 1,100 and some change square feet. So this one is a little bit bigger, 200 and some change bigger. So yeah, you do get a bigger unit, but it's not significantly bigger where it's going to make that big of a difference, at least to me in terms of living. Now, let's look at the pictures. Let's see what you get. So already, I mean, the living room to me, as great as this looks, it's quintessential New York. I mean, I love the skyscrapers, the buildings, and the exposure, a lot of sunlight. But it just feels, I don't know, it feels a little cramped to me. I mean, this could just be the pictures, as where the other one had the slanted, glass in the living room. It just looked more, it looked grander, you know? That's just my opinion. Kitchens too, I mean, I don't want to say it's a galley style kitchen. I mean, that's doing a disservice to what this is. I mean, you have marble in the backsplash, you have great countertops. It's a really clean kitchen. But again, it does look a little tight to me from what I'm accustomed to. Guest bathroom, also amazing, right? I think this is marble, and I mean, a little over the top, and I really do like it, but also, again, a little cramped. I mean, let's see here. Yeah, no, definitely with a better angle of this kitchen, it's small. This guest bedroom, what I imagine is a guest bedroom, is much bigger. So than the Miami guest bedroom. But at the same time, I'd take the Miami guest bedroom over this because of the floor to ceiling glass windows. I mean, if you just put both of them side by side, the blue color doesn't really do this any justice. I mean, it is a little kid's room, so maybe that's part of it. But I mean, if we just paint this back white, I mean, the natural light that you're gonna get in that unit in Miami is bar none. And plus you get that greenery, right? Yeah, no, the bathrooms are nice. I mean, New York is known for their detail. I mean, you know, some of the best developers and interior designers are there, of course. And I mean, I love the details and the sophistication. It's a typical New York building, you know? The amenities are probably flawless. What I don't see here, though, is the views of the water. Now, here's a view of the water. It's kind of adjacent or askew to the building. I would imagine that this is the building. So I'm not sure if this is like a drone shot or rendering. It looks like a rendering. But I don't know if this is supposed to be the water view that you get from your unit. If it is, I mean, it doesn't really do that much of a justice. Why not put the water view in it? And I made sure that this does have it because, let me come back here. So in the description, I can't go down, but in the description, it does state that there is water view from all the rooms. And it's funny that they state that because I don't see any water view. Okay, direct water views from every unit over 10,000 square feet of amenities. So direct water views from every unit, kind of vague. I mean, I would imagine that this is a unit, obviously, and it has some sort of direct water view, but I don't see it, Anyways, the point that I'm getting at is that this is a comparable unit when you're looking at a 2-bedroom and 2.5 baths in New York and in Miami. When you're looking at around 1,100 square feet, and when you're looking for a property that's in a newer constructed building, and when you're looking for something that has a water view. I'm going to take their word for it that this has a water view. I have yet to see it, but let's just assume that it has as comparable of a water view as the Miami unit that we saw. But you're paying $1 million more. So I can see the allure of people in New York leaving New York, coming to Miami. Now, I already know what you're going to say, and I already expect it in the comments. You can't compare New York to Miami. But can you, though? Because, I mean, the numbers speak for itself. There's positive migration here. A lot of people are leaving New York. I mean, I know it has heavily to do with the taxes, and I know that a lot of people are just leaving New York because of many other reasons, and not necessarily because Miami is better than New York in terms of lifestyle and all that. But is it? I mean, I would venture off to say that probably not only are you saving yourself $1 million, not only are you saving yourself a bunch of money in state income tax by moving to Miami, but from what we see so far, and of course, this is just a one unit that I selected. It's very anecdotal. It almost looks as if I purposely selected a better unit than a Manhattan unit. But I can assure you that if you do the research yourself, you're not going to find a whole lot in Brickell that matches the criteria that I gave you, which again was just the criteria that I just pulled out from thin air, to that of New York that had the same criteria, but I didn't even put a price point or a max budget to that. I was just assuming that anybody who just, has a lot of cash, and it doesn't matter, right? And these were the two options that I came with. Are there better options? Probably, but I can't imagine that trying to find something at $1,250,000 in Manhattan, you're going to find anywhere near the criteria. So if we really look at it that way, at a price point perspective, then Miami is winning all day long. So we can see the appreciation of why that's becoming so rare, because if you're in New York and you move to Miami and you see something that I just showed you for $1.2 million, and you just came from this property, I mean, you paying a premium of $50,000 over a local buyer in Miami, which is the problem that we're facing now, is not a big deal, because in your eyes, you're already getting a bargain. And I think that that's pretty much the problem that we're facing today, and it makes a whole lot of sense. And before we go on any further, obviously, if you like the content so far, make sure you click that like button. It helps me out with YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Miami real estate content like this one. Let me know if you like this type of content in the comment section below. But basically, guys, what I'm trying to get at is that from a real estate agent perspective, at least from somebody here in Miami, from a buyer, from an investor, I can tell you based off of what I've seen so far, that Miami is winning in this example. Now, I'm going to do other examples in the future. I'm definitely not done anywhere near with Manhattan. I want to do a rental example. I want to see where the rents are. And I do want to pick a couple other areas in New York that are similar to some areas in Miami, and obviously as similar as they can be, and compare prices and see where we're at. And if that's something that you guys like to see, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what other cities. I'm not just going to stick to New York, but I'm thinking about doing, Texas, Houston, California, different places in California, and just compare them. And even surprisingly to other places, they're maybe not as popular as the ones that I just mentioned, because I have a feeling that for the same amount of money, you're going to get a whole lot more value in some of those areas. And I'm curious to see, and I'm sure you guys are curious to see what you can actually get. So if you're interested, make sure that you subscribe to the channel to stay tuned, because I'll hopefully be pumping out more of this type of content. Make sure you like the channel to help me out with YouTube again, and share this video if you found value with it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate the love and the support so far, and I'll see you all next week. Take care. God bless.